Mr. Judd, Mr. Nicola made a comment about it's easier to pick up trash than it is than building a wall. You're familiar with Lower Santa Cruz, right?
I am, yes.
So what happens with the Lower Santa Cruz? We get Mexico's high ground, we're low ground in Arizona. So what ends up happening? We get this episodic flooding, right?
We get a lot of trash that is washed into our areas.
Not just trash, but sewage.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Okay. Mr. MacArthur, when we start looking at disease, I would kind of talk about trash with disease. Is the antibiotic-resistant tuberculosis advancing in the United States or receding?
I know that we've seen incidents of antibiotic tuberculosis in the United States. The source of it, I can't actually identify, but I believe it is increasing.
Well, epidemiology-wise, in Arizona, it is moving further north. Okay, we've got tons of illegals that come in because we are one of the ones that actually have the treatments for that. So where I'm going with this is the Lower Santa Cruz. We made a comment about a wall. So, Mr. Judd, if we were to build a management of water with Mexico, would that actually be as good as a wall?
I'm sorry.
Like an infrastructure project where we actually mitigate the process and direct water along the Lower Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. What we need to do is we need to be able to keep anything that's flowing from Mexico into the United States. It could be bringing trash, sewage, or anything like that. And whether that's a wall, whether that's building infrastructure with Mexico, we just need to be able to keep that out from the United States.
So let me ask you another question. Maybe you can't answer, but I've got the answer. Is that when you do something along the international border between Mexico, the United States, and Arizona, who helps pay for it?
The United States does, as far as I know.
Can you say it? What's the other country south of us?
I don't know very much that Mexico pays for anything.
No, but Mexico would pay for that on the infrastructure.
Oh, yes, on that,
absolutely.
In that case, yes.
So once again, President Trump said, Mexico would pay for it. Well, this is a creative way of looking at something that actually mitigates trauma to our infrastructure aspects that both sides take care of, and it's even better than a wall.
Yes.
We can actually extrapolate that to Nogales because of the wastewater problem. Once again, we have rampant sewage coming into the United States from Mexico, and when we do the wastewater aspect, we're the low ground, they're high ground. So we can actually mitigate this, and it makes it something that both countries mitigate. Oh, by the way, let me ask you the question. There's also another tribe down there, right? The To'odham that are along that border as well?
That is correct, yes.
And so this might be an interesting facade in regards to mitigation of how we look at border security with an infrastructure project, would it not?
It would, yes.
Wow. Interesting. But I guess I'm the racist because that's what was said here. It's disingenuous for my colleagues on the other side to say that. Over and over again, that's all I hear. You know what? There's an old analogy. Look in the mirror. The enemy is me. I yield back.